everyone, Dan here, Rocky Balboa 101, and I figured I would need to review this film. It just came out on Blu-ray and I picked it up, and of course, it's Creed 2. Creed 2, directed by Stephen Caple Jr., is the sequel to Creed, which came out, I believe, 3 years ago. And I probably would have done this review sooner, but I wanted to see it a second time before giving it a full review, and I feel like I can do that now. I do recommend, if you haven't seen my Creed review, that you watch that before you watch this review. Reason being is because I'm going to try to do the same format where I review this film just as a film, and then also review it as a Rocky fan. Kind of give you two sides, because that's how I felt about the first Creed. I felt Creed was a very well done film, but as a Rocky fan, I really didn't want the movie to happen. So I have to I try to take a step back when I review this film, because I'm conflicted a little bit, just like I was with the first Creed. So I think it's only fair to kind of look at it just from a standpoint of as just a person, not like a diehard fan, and then also look at it as a diehard fan. So I guess what I would like to do is talk about what I liked in the film first. So my favorite part or story of the film was the Dragos. I absolutely loved the storyline with those two characters, with Victor and Ivan. I actually liked it so much, I really wish the film would have spent a little bit more time on it. Just every time they were on scene, you really felt the struggle of those characters, and it really humanized the Dragos. I feel like it, after you've seen Creed 2, when you watch Rocky 4, you'll have a little bit more feelings towards Ivan Drago, and he's just not some crazy villain. And this movie shows that after Rocky 4, he was nothing to anybody for these 30 years, and he lost his wife, Ludmila, and so he has his son that he's been raising on his own, and he just wants to get some of that glory back. So that's essentially the story for the Dragos, and I thought it was very well done. And again, I wish there would have been more of it. I really liked the scene when they are at the dinner and Ludmila shows up and Victor's just like, "Why am I here? Like, I don't know these people." Like, he could care less. Like, Victor cares about his dad. That's what he cares about. And you can tell Ivan cares a lot about his son. So that was a great dynamic, and I wanted to see more of it. I thought that was the most well done part of the film. I also thought the fights were good. We get 3 boxing matches. I thought they were choreographed well, and I enjoyed them. So that was another highlight. And I gotta give props to the acting again. Michael B. Jordan, Tessa Thompson, Sly, they all did a great job. I thought Michael B. Jordan had the 2 most emotional scenes in the movie. The one in the hospital after he had lost to Victor for the first time, and then also when he finds out his daughter is deaf. So those were the positives for me for the film. All right, let's just talk about what I didn't feel worked. I thought the music was bad, and I don't mean the rap music. And I'm not really a fan of rap music, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the musical score. Nothing jumped out at me at all. I felt just, the Rocky movies are supposed to be, the music is part of the series, I mean, you just know the music, and nothing jumped out at me, so that was disappointing. The other problem I had was with the writing. I felt like, I know Sly and somebody else, they both kind of took up the screenwriting of the film, but it wasn't the situations, it was just maybe the dialogue or how they were doing the cuts. It didn't jump out at me. Like, I thought Creed 1 had very good dialogue. Nothing jumped out for this film with me as far as that goes. My biggest disappointment would probably be Rocky. And it would just be, I felt like he didn't really have anything to do in this film. And I get that I have a feeling they're trying to move along and have this be Creed's story, where like in Creed 1, it was Rocky and Adonis' story. I feel like this movie was definitely trying to push Adonis' story ahead. The problem I have with that is I don't feel like I don't feel like Adonis is a great character to root for. Alright, so let me just talk about how I feel about this film as a Rocky fan. Now, this is all my opinion, of course. Everyone is entitled to their opinion. I feel like, as a big Rocky fan, I feel like some people are shocked that, oh, you don't like Creed, or oh, you don't like Creed 2. It's because I've said before, I feel like Rocky Balboa was the perfect end to that character, and now we just have old man Rocky. I feel like I'm not a fan of having to see Rocky as an old man, just because Sylvester Stallone himself is in such great shape. I mean, the proof is that Rocky could be like that because Sylvester Stallone is like that, but they choose to downplay that, which is fine. But I'm not a big fan of that, so that takes away. But Rocky just didn't have anything to do in this film, in my opinion. Now, there is a scene in the movie where Drago and Rocky are at the restaurant, and it's a great scene. And I wanted, again, to see more of that, because that is essentially the only time these two guys see each other besides in the final battle in the ring. And they have no dialogue or anything together. I would have liked to see something like that. But again, I think my main gripe is that I'm just not enthralled by Adonis and his storyline. It's just nothing like Rocky. I mean, Rocky was the underdog, that he was a good person leading a bad life, and Adrian was this shy good person, and you just wanted it to work out. Like with these characters, it's kind of like, okay, Adonis and Bianca, yeah, they're fine. You don't root for Adonis like you do for Rocky. At least I don't. And again, I like the character, but he's no Rocky, I guess, is the best way to say it. So also in this film, they try to do what they did in Rocky 4, where Rocky trained in the wintry Russia versus Drago training with all the latest technology. This film puts Adonis in the desert. I didn't feel that at all. I didn't like that training. And again, I think it was the way it was shot, mostly. I didn't have anything against him, working hard in the elements. It was just the way it was shot. It just, there was nothing like super memorable. One of the biggest problems I had with going into Creed, the first Creed, was the fact that Paulie was dead, Robert was estranged, and Rocky was all alone and had nobody. Now, I felt like Paulie deserved a little bit more than that, but whatever. But it really bothered me, and it still does, that they did the whole plot line in Rocky Balboa with Robert was him living in his dad's shadow and him not liking it, and he finally accepted it, and they were good to go at the end of Rocky Balboa. And then all of a sudden in Creed, it's like, oh, well, no, he wasn't good to go. He moved to Canada. That always bothered me, and so in Creed 2, the very end, when Sly goes to Canada and makes up with his son, I didn't like that. Like, a lot of people liked it, because it's like, oh, we're concluding Rocky. Oh, he's ending on a high note. Well, he already ended on a high note. He ended on a high note in Rocky Balboa with his son. Now they're not fine. And the reason they're not fine, what the movie tells us, is because he didn't like living in his dad's shadow. Well, that was already covered and taken care of, so it's like they're just forgetting about that. So that bothered me, and again, like at the end of Creed 2, it's like, oh, they made up. It's like, well, why were they? What was the problem? Like, you're telling me you couldn't call your kid, or he couldn't call you. In the movie, it's like you're thinking about Robert like in 2 occasions at the refrigerator in your house, and then at the hospital, it's like, oh, should I call him? And you're like, I can't. It's like, why? It's just it doesn't. I don't like that they didn't explain that. So I felt like Sylvester Stallone didn't really have much to do in this movie. And then, of course, at the end of the film, he kind of is like passing the torch in a sense to Adonis. But Creed 2 made more money than Creed 1. So MGM's going to look at that and be like, yeah, let's do a Creed 3. Now, Sly says he's done with the Rocky character. I don't know if that's true because money is money, but it would be interesting if they did a Creed 3 and didn't have Rocky in it at all, because I just feel like they keep running Rocky into the ground every time he shows up. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what else to say. I thought Stephen Caple Jr. was a forgettable director. People say Creed 2 felt more like a Rocky movie. Well, I guess yes and no. It felt more like a Rocky movie in the sense that it had characters from another Rocky film that we haven't seen in a while. And it did feel more like along the lines of maybe Rocky 3 as far as the feel of the film. Not so dramatic. As I'm sitting there watching this movie the second time, I was thinking, this is kind of moving a little slow. And I love Rocky 1 and Rocky 2. Those are slow films, but they're interesting films. I don't think the characters, I don't think Adonis is, and Michael B. Jordan does a great job. I do need to say that. He's a good actor, and he acts fine. I just think the character of Adonis is not as rootable as Rocky. But yeah, I thought Creed 1 was better than Creed 2. So quickly going over again what I liked, I feel like we needed more of the Drago stuff. I liked all that. I thought the acting was very well done, and the fight scenes were well done. But I didn't care for the musical score, and I did not like the ending with Robert, and I thought Rocky was kind of wasted in the film. But again, I think they're trying to go away from Rocky, and it's more of Adonis' story, which it should be because this is a spin-off series. Again, this is just my opinion. If you liked the movie, that's great. A lot of people thought Creed 2 was better than Creed 1, so that's totally fine. I feel like I have a hang up on Rocky Balboa being the perfect ending and not really for the character, and that's just what I think is the case. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed my bashing of Creed 2 in the Creed series, in a sense. We'll catch you guys later. Thanks again for watching. I appreciate it. See you later.